Hi guys, today we're going to practice classifying our geometric shape, our triangles and our quadrilaterals. So if I have a triangle, and we can never go exactly by how it looks like, especially if I'm drawing it, because it's likely not going to be straight. So um, this triangle has a right angle. It really doesn't matter much about what the other angles are at this point. It is a right triangle. Um, so as long as you see that right angle and you're sure there's a right angle, it is a right triangle. Now, this triangle, again, you really shouldn't just go by the look, although I did try to draw it pretty accurately, but let's say this is 25 and this is 50, so that would be 75. Oh, that may not work out. So the thing, I'm trying to draw an acute triangle. So an acute triangle has to have, oh, it still doesn't work. All right, this could be 70. All three angles have to be acute angles. So 70 plus 95, 70 plus 25 is 95, and then that would be 85. So now that will work. So now that's an acute triangle. So it is an acute triangle because all three angles are less than 90. All three angles are acute angles, so that makes it an acute triangle. They don't all have to equal, they just all have to be less than. Now, the hardest one for me to draw is the obtuse triangle. So let's say we have 100, 50, 30. So obtuse triangle. And if you guys notice me doing a little bit of math in my head, that's because a triangle, when you add up all the angles of a triangle, it has to be 180 degrees. So if it's less than or greater than 180 degrees, that's not a triangle. So I have to make sure that the numbers I use add up to 180 degrees. But that's obtuse because it has one angle that is greater than 90. So an obtuse triangle has one angle greater than 90. An acute triangle has all angles that are less than 90. A right triangle has one angle that is equal to 90. So now that's how we classify triangles, by their angles. Now, you may also have to classify triangles by their side. Now, if you see something like this is an equilateral triangle. All sides are equal, so it's an equilateral triangle. They have to put the numbers there for you. Again, we can't just go by what we think. If you see a triangle that looks like this is an isosceles triangle. All right, and if you see a triangle that looks like this, and it could actually be, well, we'll talk about that later. So let's say this is 3, 7, 5. This is scalene triangle. None of the sides are equal. All right, so we have that. So equilateral, all the sides are equal. Isosceles, 2 sides are equal. Scalene, no sides are equal. So that's classifying triangles by their sides. And we also did classifying triangles by their angles. Of course, there could be both. So I'll try to give you some examples of cases where we have both happening. There are overlap, of course, because you might be asked, especially as you get into the older grade, you might be asked to classify by both the side and the angle. So all right, so, and I'll just give you, this is isosceles, and I can never spell this, right triangle. It's an isosceles right triangle. So the 2 sides are equal, and it has a right angle. You can have, what do you guys think this one is? By the angle, it's acute. All the angles are less than 90. And by the side, it's equilateral. So we have equilateral, acute triangles. Um, and so scalene is a triangle that has, well, yeah, so we can have, I mean, that's common. So if we have obtuse, like I said, this could be 100, this is 40. Oh, and I probably did not draw that. I was not thinking that, but yeah, we could have 6, 6. Um, let's say isosceles and scalene triangle. So that's a possibility too. You can have isosceles and scalene together. So there are some mixtures that you can have with each other. There are some that are impossible that you would not be able to have both at the same time. And we can talk about that as you get into fifth grade and higher math, but you can definitely have some overlap. All right, the other thing that it's important to know is our quadrilateral. And I have another video on this, so this is just a review. Trapezoid is something that looks like this. Trapezoid has a pair of parallel lines. So one pair. Now, there are isosceles trapezoid where the two sides are this equal, but not all trapezoid are necessarily isosceles trapezoid. So that's something that's important to know. So if you look at this, like you could say, well, this is definitely a trapezoid. We have, and you know, trapezoid is just a type of quadrilateral where you have one pair of parallel line, top and bottom. We also have our rhombus. So all sides are equal in a rhombus. So this is our rhombus. All sides are equal. This is our trapezoid. Sides don't have to be equal, but they could be because, like I said, there are isosceles trapezoid. Rhombus, okay, all sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel. So that's something else to know about a rhombus. We have very common one, rectangle. A rectangle has 4 right angles. Opposite sides are congruent. And opposite sides are parallel. Another common one is a square. A square is like where a rhombus and a rectangle meet. Like the rectangle, it has 4 right angles. Like the rhombus, all sides are equal. And like both of them, opposite sides are parallel. And all 3 of these make up the parallelogram family. Definition of parallelogram. So these are all, let me just write parallelogram. So all of these are parallelogram. So we have parallelogram, parallelogram, and parallelogram. So parallelogram is something where it's a quadrilateral where opposite sides are parallel and opposite sides are equal. So these are types of parallelogram. All right, so that's all for today. So we just reviewed how to classify um, triangles and our quadrilaterals. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.